Alrighty, kia ora guys, welcome in. There we go, kia ora guys. Welcome in. You guys are watching Kai Time episode 3. We're a bit back to normal today. We are back to the normal swing of things. We have an exciting show ahead of you. Thank you guys for joining in. Make sure you let us know what you're thinking. That is what Twitch chat is there for. We want to know what you're thinking. Make sure you include all of that in there. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guests for today. I'd like to welcome Rory into the show. Welcome in, Rory. We will try that again because for whatever reason it hasn't wanted to pick you up. That is awfully sad because I want to hear you. We are going to go like that, and then like that. Alright, speak for me, Rory. Doesn't want to work. Real good start to the show. Real high production value, as always, here at Kai Studios. Let's see. Speak now for me, Rory.
It's working
yes, we are working.
Sweet.
All hail technology. We are working. Welcome in to Kai Time. We're going to be joined by Dylan soon. TM. I don't know exactly when he's going to be joining us, but he'll be joining us at some point during the show as well. He is just in the middle of some Dota 2, and who wouldn't want to be in the middle of Dota 2 right now? Farming those compendium points.
Oh yeah.
Got to get those compendium points. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also coming up on the show today, we're going to be looking at the Epicenter, how it went and what its implications are for possibly towards the Manila Major, and then onto TI as well. We're going to look at the TI prize pool, because for those who don't know, we're already just under $5 million, and the compendium has only been out for 2 days. That is nuts. So we're going to...
one day, hasn't it?
Well, yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yeah, it's like a day and a half, like literally like probably like 30 hours, I think, since release or something like that.
Yeah.
That is exciting as well. And on top of all of that, we are also going to be looking at the AMD Cyber League. Of course, the premier Australian competition that's going on at the moment. We'll have a look at that, how that's going. Because it is always good, whilst we always look overseas for the Pro Dota, there is a lot of top-level Dota happening in the Oceania region. So sit back, welcome in. And we will start with our first topic today. And that is going to... yes, so we'll talk about our first topic today, the compendium. So, I happen to know, Rory, that you've gone out and splashed out a little bit on this compendium, eh? How much have you dropped on it?
Shit, probably about $80.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought my way up to 120 something.
I'm one of those people that's like, I spend so much of my time on Dota, and I literally don't buy... I'm not big on buying sets or anything like that. I'll buy compendiums when they come around, but I won't buy sets. So as soon as like a set comes around, so as soon as like the compendium comes around, I'm like all for it. Like I will spend big money, and I'm like, it's a free-to-play game. I spend nothing else on it, but I spend all my time playing Dota. You know, why shouldn't I reward that by paying cash for it? So.
My thoughts exactly for the compendium. I did more last year, but that was a special TI. This one, not so much, but still a lot of good shit to be had. So,
yeah, I mean, I feel like Valve tapping into the CS:GO market. Oh, sorry, of course Valve are tapping into the CS:GO market because they own CS:GO. What I'm trying to say is, Dota specifically, like with the Rylai's reward and all that kind of stuff like that. Pseudo gambling aspect of it. I mean, they've always had that with the chest openings, but I feel like they've even gone one step further. And then I've seen there was something today about fireballs or something because the community met some like target, and so
have you done that?
Yeah, I did it, and like got like nothing, and I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. But like,
yeah,
I felt like they've really like stepped up the gambling aspect of it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I actually kind of like it though. Like, I really liked how the chests used to work, where chests would come out, you get them as drops. You'd have to be lucky, and then you'd buy the keys for them.
Yeah,
And keys are kind of currency, but now it's just like chest comes out, you buy the chest. That's all there is to it. And you're guaranteed, of course, one of each item if you buy the same number of items in the chest. Like, it used to be that you could buy a chest, it'd be a really rare item in it, but you could get 5 of the same freaking common, or if you're really lucky, 5 of that same extremely rare item. But now it's like
yeah.
you unlock it and then
There's
that's
at least a little bit of
gone.
control.
Yeah, I don't really like that so much. It kind of devalues the better items in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Testing welcome in NZ Guaylo. I imagine your Patricia C account is getting a bit of an upgrade, but I mean, like, is it a viable model to have such a large amount of like, or have that compendium spend go into it? Like, is that, I don't know, like, because it's an interesting financial model, right? Is that we give money and then they then turn that into the profit, you know? I don't know. Then that directly goes into the price. But, like, I like it, and I kind of think about it when I'm purchasing stuff. I'm like, well, hey, at least some of the money is going into, like, a prize pool, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
You can always think of it as you're essentially buying, say, or who's a player that you admire? Just one player.
Eternal Envy.
Eternal Envy. It's just, you can always say that you just bought Eternal Envy a coffee.
That's true. I never thought about it that way. Sick. I just bought, but then by the same stretch of my imagination, I could have bought some, like, I don't know, a player I hate the coffee, you know, like.
Yeah. You could have bought Arteezy a really shitty coffee.
Dre in chat says, please discuss how Sniper is the best carry in Dota 2. We'll get onto that in a little bit when we do have a further look back at the patch ramifications we've seen so far. I haven't really seen too much Sniper, but we will get into that. But I mean,
have.
Yeah.
My friend plays him. He's 2.7k, and oh god, it is awful.
It's just
it directly. It's the complete opposite of the flavor heroes. Like a lot of anti-mages, specters, phantom lancers, PAs. They all like run in and just start hitting something, and they've all got such great mobility and everything. And then the sniper who doesn't want to be playing against that. They want slow heroes to stay at the back and then just pot shot. But it's hard to do that.
I do tend to agree that is like that hero certainly isn't meta. But I mean, with regards to the compendium at the moment, we might as well talk about it now because we're on the topic. The prize pool, what do you think it's going to get to this year? Are we going to eclipse? Where did we get to last year? Was it 16 million last year?
Oh. It was 18.6 or 18.8 million dollars.
Wow.
I'll go check it right now. It was that's not where you check it.
I mean,
cool.
like, because this is the first year they've had the majors, right? So, like, previously it's kind of been like there was no other Valve tournament but TI, so people tended to spend a lot more money just because it was like a Valve run event, it was TI, etc, etc. But because of the major system's kind of broken up some of that, and do you think we are going to reach that 18.8 million? Do you think we need to reach that mark anymore? Is that as important?
Well, I feel like last year was really special because it was where we had such a huge number of players, and that hasn't really increased so much, and there's not really so much as a drive to get it as high.
True.
But I feel like it's still going to get around there because they've done more for the compendium this year. There's a lot more out of it, and I only really leveled up my compendium last year because I was going to TI and I wanted to get the fifth scale replica of the Ace.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This year, there's no point going that far because I already got one, and it's not really a bit of a waste, in my opinion. But I've still obviously leveled up quite a bit by spending money, and I assume that there's a lot of others. I mean, you saw Fury's level. Was it 635?
Fury's got a level. I mean, that kid in Dota, like, honestly, like, that kid in money in Dota, man.
I've also seen, like, level 2,500 compendiums because they just want the fucking red river vials.
Oh yeah, I played the game today, and all of a sudden, like, there's some vial in the river, and I was like, what? Yeah. Like, do you think as a game it's going maybe slightly too far, or is like this kind of
I don't think so. I think I think the execution of how they've done the vials is really poor, considering you have to buy from the shop, it takes up an item slot, and then you've got to walk all the way to the river and then use it.
Oh, do you? I didn't realize
Yep,
that.
that's how you
Oh
use it.
man.
It's kind of dumb, especially if you can't really afford to just, drop something and go out to the river to
Yeah.
change it if you really
Oh
want
well,
to.
I don't know. You like have a slot in game for it. I thought it was like, huh.
Hmm.
Oh wow. But I mean, like, I kind of like a whole lot of shit gets lost on me, right? Because I see the compendium come out and it goes, "Hey, you purchase the compendium, you get this, you get this, you get this, right?" And it's like, cool. Like, there's so many features. I don't even know. Like, there's arcana votes. There's all this kind of crap that goes on. And I was like, I'm just gonna purchase the compendium because I just want to make my picks and stuff. I want to, I want everyone to know that Envy's gonna have the highest GPM
Yeah,
over the tournament.
I remember TI3's compendium, and that was one of the best things. Just because that was nothing special. That was funds get added to the prize pool, and that was a huge
Yeah.
idea. But it was mostly just predicting a bunch of random crap, and they've kind of got that at the moment. They don't have any for TI6 yet. They've only got the prize pool, but they have the Manila major predictions.
Yeah,
So
I
I've
mean,
done
you do
a
have
bunch
like
of those.
two lots of predictions this time, I guess.
Hmm. And it is good fun to be like, who you think will get the highest this and lowest that and all that.
Envy. No, the so I mean, well, having a look at that pro scene. For those who are unaware, Epicenter has just happened, and it's been heralded as like a massive success. It's been like the Moscow Major.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I, I like that term personally. The Moscow Major, super high quality production.
Did you watch much of it?
Yeah, I did. I caught the first couple of days, then caught the last couple of days. Missed out on like the stuff in the middle, but like from what I did see, was really impressive. Not only that it was like, because typically in like other majors, I'll use Shanghai as the Shanghai shit show as an example, but like you had apparently like the Russian and Chinese stream at Shanghai was like flawless. Like there was nothing wrong with those streams. Or like I'm not sure if the Russian one or not, but certainly the Chinese stream was fine, right? And then we we haven't got all of the streams that have been covering it that have been perfect, and for whatever reason that's happened at Epicenter. They found a way to use technology and have an appropriate production company, and then
It was
everything
only run
runs.
by like 5 people, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, or I guess a little bit of it is like the experience, because as it's the same people that keep on getting involved in like large scale Dota events, the production quality, you're going to learn. Obviously, you're going to learn and adapt and learn how to put on a better show, but yeah, I mean, from a pure production standpoint, Hero is a major success. From a games and playing perspective, also Herald is a major success. The action, the Dota that actually happened, a lot of people have raved about it. And for those who haven't caught up, I'm going to spoil the tournament for you, so probably tune out for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Liquid wins, and they looked probably one of the best teams there, but there were also a whole bunch of other cool storylines, like Newbie's
Yeah.
29-0 run at one point, and all that kind of stuff. I felt like it was a cool tournament for storylines as much as anything.
Yeah, it was definitely quite like TI2, TI3 kind of regions. We got Newbie, who have a huge win streak, and they have an Australian player, and they get so far. Unfortunately, they did not quite get the win, but Liquid, that's kind of their first big win, really. They've come close a couple of times, they've proved themselves many times over, but this was their big, we've done it.
Yeah.
And also, I think this was definitely the tournament that made me look at Secret in a completely different way. I'm not rooting for them anymore. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. They're not playing as well as they were before when they had their
Yeah.
old lineup. Like Universe was so much better on EG.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like we can't jump like, I agree that, like, Secret have just underperformed. And everyone's
you're
always
right.
going to talk about Secret because of the personalities that Secret have on their team. But, like, we've seen...
They still need time, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
OG is kind of like that new Western Hope, that everyone's kind of like, it's got a whole bunch of fan favourites in there.
Actually, for me, it's Navi again. I think they're coming back.
Navi are back?
I've put them as winners of Manila Major.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
wow,
calling it now.
Navi's gonna be the winner of the. You better predict that in your compendium, bro. Otherwise, it means nothing.
I already have. Yep.
Oh wow, big call. Wow, okay.
I have so much confidence in them. Their latest games, and they haven't played very much, and that's kind of the scariest thing. Like, they're going to have a huge advantage in the next tournament. I mean, sure, they haven't played against the other teams, so they're a little bit out of practice in that respect, but none of those teams have played against Na'Vi, and they don't really know what to ban out and what to
Yeah.
play like currently. It's going to be interesting to see the games and how it will go about, but I feel like they'll do well.
By the way, in chat we do have NZ Guelo ask who is worse, Secret or EG?
Oh, I kind of want to say Secret, but I hate EG.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
I didn't really see EG do anything. I'll be honest. I didn't catch up with some of the earlier games, so I didn't see Secret or EG so much. But
like
I'm not
here's
sure. What's your opinion on Aoi 2000 as carry and fear on support, as opposed to just reversing that and changing things how they were in TI5?
I'm not. I
Yeah.
like Fear typically plays a greedier support anyway, like which is kind of the role that Aoi would have done. I would have liked it the other way, but Aoi was playing. Aoi was playing carry for DC back when like they had
Hmm.
their shittier lineup. They
Yeah,
were
and I heard he was good, but I didn't really see any of it.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with Enzeguelo in the chat. I think Bulba is actually like Bulba's been in this. The thing is with Bulba is he's been in the scene for so long. Like ever since like I started watching Dota, which was like 2.5 years ago, whatever. Like Bulba was like he was always in the scene, but he's always in the scene as a coach or as like a mentor to a lot of the top players. Artur credits a lot of his success to practicing with Bulba and Bulba kind of being like at a similar level to at least he was at one point. I think, but in terms of like straight swaps, like Bulba for Universe, like it's probably not awful, but like I think Sumail just like it just isn't Sumail's patch. I haven't seen like since I honestly have to go back to like probably TI before was the last time that I could have said something that I'd seen a good game out of like him, and then yeah.
Yeah, that was very much a male patch, just like the strong areas being Storm and Co-op, and
Yeah.
those were the flavor picks as well.
And it is really interesting to see with a lot of players, you get patch players and patch teams, and then you get players who've had continued success over their career. And it's kind of like, I feel like, I don't want to, so I'm not going to like rag on Sumail so hard.
Nah.
But like at the same time, like Sumail's been a bit of a patch player. Like sure he's one of the top mids in NA. I mean, like that's true. But like it only means so much to be a top mid in NA, like relative to some of the other players and some of the other mids like elsewhere. I see. Hold on.
I don't really like Sumail. I think he's pretty average. Like during all of TI5, yes, he was dominating, but a lot of the time it was because he had such a great team to back him up and help him win over the mid lane, and he was able to make some good plays. I'll admit that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I would also like just to welcome. I'm going to take the coming soon off his name, as we do have Dylan is here. DJ Pyle, welcome in. Maybe fingers crossed. We're going to welcome him in at some point.
I don't know.
Maybe he's going to go say hi. Regardless, I'll take off that coming
Oh,
soon
yo.
because. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I had my push to talk on a different button.
Sick. I will just boost him. So we're just in the middle of talking about where the question was from NZ Guelo in chat. Who was worse, EG or Secret? And that's kind of our discussion point we're at the moment.
Yeah, we kind of ran into Sumail.
And then and then we started talking about Sumail as a patch player and like not really showing up since TI5 in any kind of capacity, and perhaps EG is sinking down into kind of mediocrity on the grand scale of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just say EG were worse at Epicenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. I reckon just Secret have the potential to play better, but also play a lot worse. I think we've talked about it before, but the EE and the Arteezy
The E
combo.
and the
You know, it's
Arteezy.
just like all over the show.
It's so chaotic, and then mixed with like Puppy, who's so in control. It's a bit
Yeah.
strange.
It is a bit of a strange one. We were also talking earlier about the compendium. Have you bought a compendium yet?
Oh, dude, that's why I'm late to the show, because I got real excited about all the things that it was entailed. Had to try them all out.
Yeah, I'm
Speaking
not.
of, has everyone voted for Batrider?
I think I did, to
I
be
think
honest.
I can't remember which one I voted for. Actually, that seems to be the only one
It's out
contested.
of Batrider and Huskar.
I voted
'cause that's the
Chen.
most contested.
I voted Chen, boys. I'm one of
Bad
those
luck.
Sven.
Yeah, I
Sven
voted
people.
Chen as well.
20%.
Like that Chen.
All
would've-
16 votes for Chen.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, like.
I put the majority of my 48 votes on Batrider because honestly, he would be so much cooler with a Arcana. I feel like Huskar, his TI item last year, is really strange. It doesn't quite fit, and
What
I'm
was
worried that it was some golden mask thing that has like a golden tail of sorts. It was kind of cool, but I feel like that in itself kind of makes him not needed for a Arcana, and I don't really know what they're going to do to make him look all that amazing compared to Batrider, who's got a lot of potential, I think.
And also,
With
like,
his spells.
Huskar's not really a hero you want to be seeing a whole lot of.
Yeah, I'd rather see fewer Huskars. I mean, I don't see any at the moment, but I doubt giving Huskar an Arcana is going to make him a viable hero. But certainly will be picked more, and MMR will be lost.
Yeah, so continuing on with Epicenter and kind of looking at the flow on effects towards the Manila Major that comes up. Do we think that we're going to see that kind of the newbie OG liquid kind of dominance that we saw? Do you think that's going to continue over to Manila, or do you think that there's kind of like
I feel so.
do you think that like, the play styles might get figured out, or
I'm like... Oh, go on, man.
I feel like they can play exactly the same, and despite the game style being figured out, because that was done by the end of the tournament anyway, still going to play the same. They've had so many drafts and things up their sleeves, so I feel like it'll be pretty dominant by OG, newbie, and liquid once again, but this time with Alliance and Navi. Well, Alliance was in this tournament, wasn't? Were they?
Yeah.
They were, yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
Alliance at Epicenter, they kind of just... The games they did the best on was when they kind of resorted to doing normal Alliance, like Chen early game kind of group up and push things. And then they lost quite a few games when they were playing Alchemist and shit, and I was like, it's not really, it's not really Alliance style to do that, so they should probably just stay away from it, I think.
yeah, I
Also-
kind of felt that as well. Yeah.
Also, I wanted to say that I'm really keen for the Major because you've got, like, Complexity, who's kind of on the up.
Oh,
You have,
yes.
VGR, who are, like, actually, I think that the times that I've seen them play, like, if you're aware of the H Cup, which
Yeah.
they won the first four seasons of or something, like, outright, it was ridiculous. And then you got Wings, who I'm also, like, a huge fanboy of. And then also, like, Fnatic, who I rate quite highly. I think they're up in the mix. And they were, like, quite unlucky not to get anywhere at Epicenter because, like, the other teams in the qualifier pool were actually really good. So, like, I don't know, I think you just have, like, heaps of potential from all these teams. And it's also, like, the teams that have normally done well, you know, the EG and the Secrets are kind of, like, they're starting on the back foot this time, so now they've got something to come and improve to. So I think it's just, like, the place where it's place where all the teams are at the moment is, like, really exciting, I think, coming into the major tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
it is also a home tournament for Fnatic, so
Ooh.
again, like on that Fnatic
Oh,
hype
not
train-
Makes a
Right,
little
no.
bit of a difference, just like Star Ladder with Navi back in the day.
yeah,
Yeah, but aren't Fnatic Malaysian?
yeah, Fnatic,
Yeah.
Fnatic are
Oh, it's
Malaysian.
not quite home then. It'll be
Well,
home for
Close,
the next
close
year.
well, okay, I think there's
Close
a couple
enough.
I think there's a couple of like Filipino players in the team. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
but also Navi, I feel like they're going to do so good. Like, their last
yeah.
couple of tournaments, they've gotten so well, like second, first. We play wasn't so great, but I feel like they're definitely going to do well.
and that's
Yeah,
we-
they
we-
could just do well and then just, like, show up one day and then lose. That's tends to be the Navi way of late, though.
I suppose. They've been missing from the scene for a while, just like
Yeah.
scrimming and practicing perhaps on Smurfs. I hope so, I believe.
I mean, you look back to like the discussion we're having with like patch teams, and Navi, I guess, are one of those. Navi and like the players like Dendi have kind of proven themselves I mean, like, okay, so to a certain extent, everyone is a patch player, right? Because there are, like, some heroes which are naturally going to be better in the meta that you are better at or feel more comfortable at. But players like Dendi, S4, someone like, trying to think from the Chinese scene, Mu, I guess you could include Mu in that, who's the Mu, Ferrari 430, like, all those kind of guys. Like, they're not patch players. You know, they will turn up. Or at least to some extent, they'll turn up at, like, every chance they play. And as long as, like, S4 and Dendi or Navi can get himself, like, into the tournaments, then I feel as though, I don't know, I feel like there's something to be said for that kind of experience. And
I also think that you can mention Fada in that list as well, because he is, like, the most low-key mid player, but he can just play, like, anything.
True.
And then pretty much all of the players on newbie, like Hao and Mu, and who else is on that team? There's
Chuan.
Chuan, yes, of course, Chuan. The other ones are fairly new,
KP?
Kaka and KP.
KP, my boy! That's actually definitely going to be a goal of Kai Time, is to get KP on the show. That's actually going to be the dream. Like, KP is going to be the dream.
He'll be quite busy, but if we can...
We'll make it happen.
Probably sometime after TI6, because he'll be busy with Manila Major and then TI.
Yeah, like, once he's won TI6.
Yeah.
Once we've got an Australian player winning TI6, then...
Fuck, it's going to be hard to get him. But oh well. We'll try.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's really exciting because you had Gods and Toby casting, and then KP playing, and you're just like, well, I mean, like, it's typical of, like, the Australians to kind of take what New Zealand has to offer, but I feel in this case, like, we're all Oceania here, right, boys? We're all playing the same server. You know, KP is as good as a New Zealander as he is an Australian, as is Toby and Gods.
Well, you see, you have to represent your server. It's not about representing your country anymore.
Yeah.
It's all about repping your server.
We're all playing on one server here.
Oh, dear.
We're all as good as the next racist Australian.
Oh, my God, they actually trigger me so hard.
Some worse than others in here. Shout out to Cockage.
Shout out to Cockage, who I heard spammed my chat with the Windmill of Friendship before.
Oh, that was me with the Windmill of Friendship. He did everything else.
He did everything else, yeah. Alrighty, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on from the Manila Major to... sorry, I just completely lost my train of thought. We're going to move on from the Manila Major now on to TI itself. And I want to ask you guys if you think it is reasonable or the hype from the Manila Major is going to be detracted or increased because it is so close in proximity to TI. Like, is that going to... Are we going to see a better quality performance at Manila? Are we going to see teams anticipating that there won't be a patch change? Because if this is the TI patch, if you're a team going into the Manila Major and you've gotten to TI, we've qualified for TI, you don't want to be pulling out all your best strats, do you, for the Manila Major? If TI is just around the corner?
I feel like it's almost at the stage where a lot of these teams and all these players, they don't really care so much about placing so extremely well in TI and getting the money so much, as opposed to just playing and doing well as they can in all tournaments.
Yeah.
I think, like, a goal... Like, I think it just puts extra pressure on the Major that, like, you need to do well to kind of secure an invite to TI as well. So it's like, not only do you want to win the Major, but you also want to, like, perform well enough so that you do get the invite.
Hmm.
How long before TI last time were invites out?
Oh, very soon. Like, it would probably be around the beginning of June. No, it would have been before that, I think, because back then they had qualifiers, and those needed to be played ages back. Because I remember in TI3 at least, they had the two main qualifiers. It was just two main qualifiers. And those were played several months before TI3.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think you can have fast turnaround. I think that's all good. I do like the way how they, in the international, they generally run, like, as opposed to having, like, 4 pools and running fewer games, they tend to have, like, 2 big pools. So it's, like, way more Dota, and, like, the more consistent teams are the ones that get rewarded.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should be. But I mean, I'm also, like, just looking overall at the patch, I'm also a big skeptic of just the timing of this last patch. Like, I really would have liked that last patch to have come maybe like a month earlier, and so then we get one more patch in before TI, because I feel like at this stage, like, you have a month and a half or 2 months on this patch, and then it's already kind of becoming stale. I mean, obviously there's going to be tournament meta that's going to come out, like, regardless.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
I feel like there's definitely going to be a patch between now and TI, whether it's before or after the Middle Major, because it's been it hasn't been that long since the last one, but the last one was pretty light. At the very least, they'll add Pit Lord. I feel like that's something that they might want to push out for TI6. Just have it like the first complete hero roster tournament. And there was also something like a glitch or something that someone did for the compendium where in the community challenges it listed 104 heroes, and then the next day during a patch it was changed to 103. I'm not sure if that was just a general typo or maybe they'd intended to release Pit Lord.
Pit Lord?
Well, the thing is, like, we haven't actually been playing Dota for all these years because it's not a full game. You know, we've only been playing
We're still in beta. We're
still in beta, and then when the full game does come out, that's when Dota will become a lot more serious because Pit Lord will be involved.
Are you guys kind of in the same attitude as I am towards Pit Lord, where you just don't think he's going to be that strong a hero?
I mean, I know Dylan played Dota 1, but I never played... Did you play... You played Dota 1, did you, Rory?
Nope, not at all.
You did, Dylan? You did, you played quite a bit of Dota 1. So I've only ever been told about Pit Lord from my friends who have played Dota 1, right? So I've never actually, like, seen the true extent of Pit Lord, but from what I've been told... I don't know. Like, I feel like the last few heroes to be ported are Oracle. I mean, okay, Wyvern's the exception because Wyvern was super relevant. But like even Oracle's had limited relevance. I mean, obviously Arc Warden isn't like competitively available yet. But like the last few ports haven't really been. I don't know. They haven't like changed the game. I don't think Pit Lord is either. It's going to be one of those picks where it's like, cool, we've got a Pit Lord in our pub game. Like whenever they see that.
They were still very strong when they were first released. Like Oracle with his Invis, I remember I would
that
do this
Dagon
Rush build, and it was crazy strong. Like you'd get so many kills in the early game, and you just dominate the game because of that early damage output and gank ability. And he's still currently viable with his helps and his heals and his saves in a just completely different way. Arc Warden was kind of good.
There's like viability though in pubs, and then viability competitively. And whilst I agree that like.
I feel like Wyvern's lost a lot of his competitive viability simply because he can't deal damage.
Yeah, like ulti. I reckon that nerf was way too much. For his ulti, they should have just made it like the same damage reduction as his Winter's Curse or something like that. Not as his other one. Yeah. It
turns it almost into a Naga song that's a small AOE and has the potential to kill off weak enemy support if their strong physical carry is nearby.
Or screw over your team if you've got fundamentally no idea how to play the hero.
Oh, fucking hell. So many Wyverns just using their heals when we're running a line. Like, I could have lived if you just didn't do anything.
You're on a puck, and then you're just like, oh, cool, nah, you've actually frozen me. It's like I don't have any escapes, I'm dead.
Sweet, and there's the finger.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we are going to change tack a little bit here on the show. And we are going to have a look a bit closer to home. Now, have you guys been following much of the AMD Dota 2 Cyber Gamer Pro League, whatever they want to call it?
I've been watching a little bit, but I kind of find it hard to view the brackets and shit for that stuff.
Where is it? I don't think
it's I'm gonna post it in chat. This is okay. So this is the rankings.
I've been watching games because people post games or something, and I just be like, yo, and tune in and out, and kind of just get the normal buzz you get from Australia Dota.
Watching
Dota.
But
then it's kind of important to know the context of the matches, or else you're just watching a random game.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, so for those who aren't aware of kind of the way that Cybergamer does it, they do it where it's a challenge based system. So I'm not 100% sure on it, but but as a team you choose another team, and it's got kind of so basically you challenge it. So there isn't a bracket per se, although eventually the top teams do go into a playoff stage. So the link I just posted, you'll be able to see as I'm just trying to multitask, really doing a bad job of it. You see, so you've got the Teletubbies on a win, Rovers on a win, Dismay on a win, Beardman on a win, and then 1-on-1 on NFA, which I think I mean, they've got the Team Cypher logo, so I imagine it's them. And then you've got TSG, TMS, and then Winter Tantrum. But, I mean, I guess like the reason why I'm bringing it up is because it's like it's all we've got at the moment in Australia in terms of top tier tournaments, and it is good because teams actually have to invest. Like it's $150 for a team to enter, which is for the professional league, which is virtually unheard of. That kind of entry fee for Australian Dota, which means that you don't actually, although they do have that AMD sponsorship, not sure how much AMD is actually contributing to it, but what it does mean is that you do actually have some sort of prize pool. So at the moment it's like $675, although like two teams I see haven't paid. So like eventually it's going to be like an $800 prize pool, which I think is kind of the way to do it. Like you want to have these teams play professionally and you want to create that professional environment, at least put some onus on them to kind of front up with some money. I don't know.
Did you hear about the Starletter I-League
The I-League
qualifier?
qualies, yep.
Yeah, well, that was a LAN tourney, wasn't it?
Was it a LAN? I don't think it was a LAN, because I know that Fury played in it.
Oh, yeah.
And
did they play in the qualifiers or just...
there were I-League qualifiers on.
They had an Australian qualifier, but I read online, this might be wrong, but I did read online that the Australian qualifier then is in the Chinese qualifier.
What?
You know what? It's
seems
nothing.
really
Yeah,
nice.
I was like, we can't even play Perfect World servers on our version of the game as well. It like didn't really make much sense to me. Maybe it was a mistake, but that was definitely typed up online.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I can try to. This. So, SCA has a qualifier. I'm being told, and it's full of direct invites. What? I'm actually not sure. I'm not 100% sure. It does look like there are LAN finals, but all the teams I've got have been directly invited. I'm not sure. Anyway, we can double check and get back to you because they were having I-League qualifiers going on, but again, lack of accessibility to brackets and things like that seems to be a recurring theme in our scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find out any information on it. And if I can't find out any information on it, then how is the layman Dota 2 player going to find out any information on it? So, I mean, back to Cybergamer. It is cool to get kind of like the top 8 teams, the top 8 I guess teams, and commit them to playing Dota against each other. Commit them, like, I mean, $150 is their commitment, right? Is that they said, okay, so we're actually committing to it, but is that the way forward? Is something like Cybergamer the way forward? Having to pay large entry fees?
I feel like it might be a one-off thing for certain. Like, I don't see teams wanting to do this a lot of the time, but it might be good just to get a good standing on where the teams are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I still
I'm not-
feel like their best way is just various qualifiers into the bigger international tournaments. Because winning an Australian tournament, something you can, or Valve is going to see and be like, hey, we should invite them to our tournament, or any other international kind of tournament thing either.
I'm not really a huge fan of like entry fees though, like large entry fees, because if you're playing Dota competitively, like you don't really want to be doing it at a cost.
Yeah.
So like if you're not winning tournaments, for example, and you've put money in, and then it's like another thing, it's like another obstacle that makes it harder to try and get better, or to get that experience to then get better from like playing in tournaments. You know, you're kind of at a deficit when you're trying to do that.
But also, in a way, it kind of strives each team that does commit to actually try their hardest and do their best, because then, I mean, if they lose, they're losing $150 for the team, but if they win, then they're all making $150, or however much. So
we have reached the point in the show. It is 10:40. local time, or at least local time for us three. So if you guys do want to jump in, we are going to open up the lines. Feel free to jump up onto the TeamSpeak. Details are below. Jump on in, come and have a chat. Any topics we've discussed tonight, or anything else you want to discuss? How much money you've dropped on the compendium? Whether or not Riley's rewards is fixed and broken and you're never going to want an Arcana, I don't know. Feel free to come on and
I certainly haven't.
Yeah, discuss any of that.
I saw you put a bit of money into your compendium there, Zach.
Yeah, bro. I chucked a cheeky. Was it 40 NZ? I think it's $40 NZD.
Yeah, something like that.
To get that level 50. I was just like, oh man. I was set it at the top of the show. I was like, I'm just gonna Dota's free to play. I don't buy sets. This is the game that I unfortunately spend way too much time on. I'm just gonna chuck 40 on it. Chuck 40. You know.
Crap. Another friend just bet me in level.
And where? And what?
Battle level.
Battle level?
They paid to get from like 110 to 151 now.
Jesus.
Set.
Just to have that kind of disposable income, mate, that's the dream.
That is actually the dream.
I know, right?
I'm like looking at my bank account going like, oh, I wish I could spend more than $40. But then again, I...
So jealous of like
I have
Sam
to
and
pay
Ben. They've
rent
got
and
jobs
food.
and no... Yeah. Same for me, but like Ben, for example, he doesn't have rent or bills to pay at all. He does have a job, so he's sitting there with VR and a level 350 compendium.
Yeah, that's actually the dream. I wish I had expendable income. Disposable income.
Yeah. I guess it's our fault for choosing to study, eh?
Yeah, that was definitely my
So I haven't really like looked through the compendium fully, but what are some cool shit from this one?
Okay.
That is
I think
different?
the best thing...
I know about the
is-
MMR recalibration shit.
Okay, that's one of the very cool things, although I'm not sure how to really
I
look at
got
it
some good
because
opinions on that.
the fact that you can change it after 40 games to be your main MMR is a little bit strange considering it's harder to get a larger number. So, for example, Wagga, who's usually 8k-ish, he calibrated at, I think, 3k.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that and say that I played international ranked with my stack, who I normally stack with, and we're like 3.8k to 4k average, right? And we went up against a bunch of guys who were like 5, 6, and 6k solo because they all calibrated at because the highest, if you look at the global leaderboards, like the highest is someone who's like 4.9.
Like 4.5, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 4.9. So like,
yeah, that's the thing. Like MMR is a relative term, so because the pool of players is actually way smaller, you know, the highest. If you say the average is set at 2k or something, then the highest echelon of that is going to be like 4k. So I think as more people buy the compendium, there'll be like more. It'll start to expand out a little bit more, and then maybe if you do a recalibration later on, there's a higher chance that you'll be able to get a lot higher.
Yeah,
that's so smart.
I honestly do love the idea of recalibrating though. Like I calibrated when they first released ranked 3 years ago. I got ranked at 3.5k. Didn't like losing 200 MMR in the next week, so I decided to stop playing ranked, and I haven't really played any ranked since. But I have been playing with like Fury, who's 6k, and some other friends who are around 4k. And so I think I've definitely improved from 3.5k, but I haven't been able to do that with MMR.
I mean,
yeah, well, I think it's the same thing as well as that, like MMR for different servers and like over time has like changed its meaning quite a bit, you know, like when I started playing, like my brother or whatever calibrated at like 3.2. Now I'm thinking about it, if he was still playing at that skill level, he wouldn't be 3.2, because I think it's got a whole lot more competitive, because I feel like there hasn't been that many newer players that have joined the Dota 2 community. It's kind of like the whole community is kind of just getting
certainly
better.
Not on the last little yeah. But also I have a lot of friends that are around early 3k or late 2k. Some of the late 2k players are playing much better than one of my friends who's 3.7k, I think. And it's like, how does that make any sense? Like, I've always wanted a recalibration simply because there are some people who are much higher than they should be, and some who are much lower than they should be.
But okay,
and, yeah.
Let me just propose this then. I mean, the issue is that if we were all in teams, right? If it instead of play, it was like football. Like you had to join a team if you wanted to actually play, right? Then I think the discussion around MMR and whether or not that translates into you being a good player is like two different things. You see it in the pro scene, right? You see someone like PPD is 6k. Yeah, he's like 6k, maybe like flat, right? Now is he a 6k player? Are there other guys playing at 6k? Are you saying that they should all be captains of EG? And like the obvious answer is no, because at that level, like MMR isn't really an indicator of skill. I mean, Badman, like on a Spectre, is a classic example of that. He lost like 1k since the new patch has come out, right? Because he's good at spamming a hero. But like, I feel like there's no quantifiable way to say at least that, like, say anywhere between 2 to 5k, like that's typically the bracket where there aren't as many kind of teams, but there are a large player base. That like there's a difference between overall skill and being able to win pubs, and so like as the guy who's 2.8 might be awful at winning a pub game with 4 random people, but put him in a team and tell him that he's a 5 position whatever, or even he could even play carry, but he just got a team around him. He might be able to perform at a level that is similar to that 3.8k in terms of where they would fit.
I totally agree, and I think there's even more to that. I think it's also about the number of heroes that you can play, and to the extent of how well you can play each of those heroes, as well as, of course, knowledge of the game, like knowing what works and what doesn't, all that sort of stuff. So, for example, all those spammers of one hero, they can spam Earthspur to the point where they're a solid, maybe 6k Earthspur. And they'll be 6k solo MMR, but if you gave them, say, Enigma, they'd run around like an idiot. I mean, they still know the base mechanics, of course, really well. They'd still know what works, but they wouldn't be able to play Enigma like a 6k.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, like, though it's such a complicated game, I guess you have, like, mechanical skill and you have strategy, and so, like, I guess MMR is just, like, a rough indicator of how well you match up. But then, yeah, like we're saying, it's such a complicated game. Like, one of my friends, I remember... he's just a mid player. He just plays a shitload of like Shadow Fiend and Tinker and Invoker, and it's kind of all he plays. And he was saying that he got so much MMR just from spamming Shadow Fiend and buying a Shadow Blade, and then just like going into their jungle and just like fucking nuking the shit out of them and just winning games. And then he said when he got to about 5k or 5.5k, that like the teams who he was versing actually would like see him do it and then buy wards, like, and then he wouldn't be able to do that anymore. Be able to win. And then he kind of plateaued at around 5.5k because he's just running the same strategy.
Yeah.
MMR
is an interesting beast. Okay, here's a question. Is MMR good for the game? Is to have a quantifiable display of skill, is that good for the game?
I like
That's
it.
Hard.
I think it's the point where I think it's quite difficult is because Dota is a team game and you have a solo MMR. It's kind of weird. Yeah. So like, well, I mean that's the part of it that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense is when it's the efforts of 5 different people working in different ways that give you a victory, and so it's not just a solo, like a singular calibration. But I do like the whole idea of having MMR around different individuals. I think that's kind of a cool idea as well.
I do like the ability that you can go into a game solo completely on your own and play at a game of your skill, but the problem is that you can get used to playing with people and playing in a certain bracket. So for me, playing in much higher brackets than I'm actually with that skill, but I've become a little bit more used to that, and I should be a little bit lower than that, but still higher than when I go in solo. And it's kind of hard because it means that when I go in solo, I have 4 people on my team that I've got to kind of need to trust and rely on to some extent, as opposed to in these other games where I'm comfortable with and I have experience with them. I can play to their styles and things.
Yeah, like I've been doing way more scrimming than playing pubs game lately, and then I was doing the recal of the international bloody MMR, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And then it put me in a game which was like 2.9k average MMR, and I'm probably used to playing more like 4k team Dota. And then
Yeah.
I was just playing normal Doom, and then everybody is just doing like the most random stuff, and I'm like the game. I don't. It was just such a different style of game than
Yeah.
what I was used to playing. You know?
It's gone from a team of 5 to 5 different individual players on a team.
Yeah, I almost feel like there should be only a party MMR, or at least MMR, that can be leveled up with parties. But then again, there is the problem with that, with just stacking with very good players and then just boosting MMR that way.
Well,
But again, I don't really agree to the point where you have to play by yourself and trust 4Ms completely if you want to get better according to a statistics as opposed to how you are actually playing.
I mean, like, okay, so Valve matchmaking, it's okay. Like, they've got a system and it works okay, but we go back to what used to happen, say, in, like, Dota 1 days, where it was a lot more league-based, so it was like, if you're good enough to play, say, I don't know, IXDL, or something like that, you know, and if you're able to prove yourself, like, through that, and then you kind of gain notoriety through that, as opposed to, say, like... Miracle, so Miracle, I can't remember who did he play for before he made it big. He played for like a small team, right? But he was mainly known as this high MMR European player who played for a small team. So he didn't really have any like big team experience. So if you're a team looking to pick him up, you don't know how he's going to perform. Very similar to Weeha. He had a little bit of experience in Balkan Bears, but like regardless, so there's a player who wasn't able to prove himself in a team environment, but they kind of took the gamble and it paid off. How about where I'd like to see the shift is as players play things like IXDL and the old Face It Pro leagues, where there was a lot more sense of teamwork than you would get any just random pub, and because of that, you got better quality games and you got to see how people react in like a team environment. And I always thought that was like a better model for introducing new players than, say, like, Valve's matchmaking system. And I think that can be applied to any level. Obviously, it's harder because, like, say, a 2K player has no ambition to play, like, in a team. So, like, well, okay, might not have this, like, the same ambition to play professionally as, like, a 6K player because one player's clearly better than the other. But, I don't know. I always like that system determining, like, who gets to play in the top teams as opposed to Valve matchmaking.
I always kind of thought that I don't like how the current MMR system works, where all players on the winning team gain the same amount of MMR, and all the players on the losing team lose the same MMR. I feel like if you did so ridiculously well, and you came so close to winning, but only just lost, and you're carrying, say, 4 really bad players, but you did really, really well, and everything about the game says it. Is it right that you should lose just as much MMR as everyone else?
You can't program that though. Like
it is very difficult.
How do you scale someone's like contribution to a match? You know, you might go like 0 for 10 or like 0 for 15 or something, but still be doing the most work in your team. You know.
I feel like it would have to be based completely ignoring KDA and just go for
wins and losses.
Not only XPM and GPM, not quite that. But also kind of look at what each hero does. So, for example, if you pick a Dazzle, it'll look at Dazzle and be like, okay, how many times did you even use Grave? How much healing did you do during the entire game? And, of course, base it on the length of the game as well. And things like it would be a very complex system to program.
I feel like that it would take probably 10 years to get right as well.
If someone could do it, that'd be amazing. Yeah. But what if I don't skill Grave as Dazzle and I go, like... S and Y, Desolator, and right-click all their towers, then all of a sudden the metric thrown in is like, well, Dazzle's taken a whole bunch of towers, but hasn't graved anyone or healed anyone because he hasn't taken the stat. I mean, I agree with what you're saying, is that that's probably the best way of doing it, is to be able to write a code to exactly measure someone's game performance, and then that's how much MMR they get. So obviously, if you're the best player on a crap team, then you can still increase the MMR, and if you're the crap player on the best team or whatever, like if you can somehow work that out, but that's just way too hard to...
I kind of have an idea of that. If you do end up winning, if you're going S and Y, Deso, Dazzle, and you're not skilling Grave or anything like that, if you win, then you will still get MMR, it will still be good, but if you lose, then you'll lose more MMR than other people, or if you win and you have a really shitty overall score of like GPM, XPM, and KDA. If you win S and Y Deso, those are your only 2 items in a 70-minute game, you won, then you probably won't get as much.
Oh yeah, I
So I
completely agree.
Absolutely everything.
I
it'd be really
completely
difficult.
agree, but then you've also got to look at it like it isn't just that individual hero performance. You've got to be like, okay, so Dazzle was playing position 1, or she was playing position 5. You know, like how do you say that? Like, yeah, okay, it's I mean, like as Demon Varen points out in chat, like hero-based MMR.
Oh yes, that was a feature I really wanted to have.
Yeah, actually, what happened to that? Just throwing it back.
They kind of removed that idea because they thought it would be too hard to implement, and I think I don't know, it would be really hard because you'd get a lot of people.
So do you have to
reckon-
pick your hero before you queue then as well?
Well,
That's
I'm not
true.
sure if that would be it. I think it would just calibrate it after you pick. Like you'd search up ranked and then, but that's actually kind of the problem.
If you got
Like,
plus
I
and
would
minus
reckon
overall,
I'm 5k plus at Pudge probably, but I'd reckon I'm probably less than 2k on Alchemist, for example. So it would be impossible to rank me as a 5k Pudge and then put me into a 5k game, but out of the worry that I might pick Alchemist and play it like a 2k. I'm a terrible Alchemist.
Well, as we're kind of running out of time, a really interesting discussion around hero MMRs and whether or not that should be a thing. Might save that one for another day though, because we are getting to the end. It's almost 11 p.m. NZST. So, has anyone got any final words, any promos, any shout outs, anything you guys want to do?
I want to shout out to the what is it called? Hang on, let me just find it. It'll be like 2 seconds. The Immortal Gardens terrain. Well done, Val. That is such a nice terrain. I love it.
Is that the one where you can see the juke paths?
Yes, but that's not the reason I love it. I
Okay.
think it's just such a cool terrain. It
Okay.
looks so nice.
Any shout outs or anything from you, Dylan?
Probably not at this stage. Shout outs to my new team. We're going hard. If anyone wants a scrim with us, you're welcome to hit me up. But we're not very good. I think we've only won one of our scrims so far.
Bro, there's plenty of room for improvement.
Oh, you got to start somewhere, mate.
Exactly.
Actually, I do want to bring up one last thing.
Yeah.
You saw the thing where if we last year's prize pool, they're going to put out new DC hooks, these are mortal items that should no longer be created, but as like a special TI6 item. Do you reckon there'll be like TI6 effects? For example, a red DC hook style? You could change between white and red, but regardless will have a tag, or just the regular DC hook, but just TI6 tag.
I don't know. I feel like that's more way to make money, so that'd probably be what Valve does. But
Oh yeah, I mean, because
sounds
there's
like
only
a
200
moneymaker.
of them, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be making more money for the community, I think, than
yeah.
Valve.
Hey guys, we can't be bothered creating an entirely new set. Why don't we just put particle effects on the shit we've already got? Fuck, that's brilliant. That's how you get promoted in Valve, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's a genuinely good idea though, like a new DC hook, just a very limited edition, just a one-off special thing.
Yeah. You're saying something, Dylan?
Oh, they need to bring back those like team tokens. You know how when you're watching a team,
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
the
little
pennants,
counter?
yeah.
I saw
And-
someone
and
ask
then, like,
about that.
Then if they bring them back and it's real cheap to buy one for your team, or like say you get a free one with the compendium, but you have to choose a team, and then like you get rewards for watching the team that you've selected or something like that, so it gets people invested into like
That
a
is
specific team.
a good idea, because I remember I've got a Navi pennant. It's level 11, I think, and I remember they changed it from a mythical item to an uncommon item, I think, and I was like, what's this about?
Oh.
And then they just stopped being used, and I was like, well, what do I do with this? I don't want to delete it. It literally does nothing other than add to the counter in the side
To
of
the
Navi
count.
games if I watch it in client. So
Yeah,
it's
and then like if your
almost
team does
completely
something
pointless.
good, then if you witness your team doing something good, then you should be able to like get drops and shit from that as well, I reckon.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be cool.
That's how that used to be, eh? That's why I had a level
Yeah.
11 one, because I had a higher chance than someone with a level 1 Navi pennant
Just so small.
during
Mhm.
Navi games, of course.
Yeah, alrighty, we have hit the 11 o'clock mark, so whilst we have been having fun here, thank you guys very much. Thank you to Rory and to Dylan.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you guys for watching Kai Time. It has been Kai Time with Ride Hunter. Make sure you like, you follow, you like the Facebook page, and you also follow the Twitter. All the details are below. And we will see you here same time, same place next week. We also do have a couple of tournament rights, casting rights. We will be releasing names and all that kind of details with that soon. So make sure you do stay tuned to the Facebook page. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting Kai Studios. And we will see you next week.